Hello, Tom. Thank you for your time. It's great to meet you. Lovely to see you as well. We've just finished watching your film. Now, this film, Love, Courage, and the Battle of Bushy Run. Now, to be honest, we thought at first this was a documentary about our editor's stag night, but it's not.
Right, yeah.
So,
No,
as
it's
usual,
not, unfortunately, no.
tell us what it's actually about.
So the movie is about a pivotal battle, the Battle of Bushy Run. It's set in 1763, and the American colonies are on the verge of, destruction. And the native tribes under the Ottawa chief Pontiac decide to capture an area called Fort Pitt. And then Colonel Henry Bouquet, who I play, is tasked with getting together a ragtag group of soldiers with Scottish Highlanders, British troops, and Americans to go and save their people in Fort Pitt. And it's during on their journey there that this battle takes place, the Battle of Bushy Run. And it's actually it's a huge turning point in the history of America. So that is the story.
I gather this was taken from a book originally, which the son of the author of the book really pushed hard to get made, and it was finally made, obviously. But he was 100. The author's son was like 101 when he passed away. Is that
Yes, yeah.
true?
That's completely true. Yeah, and I was lucky enough to meet him on set when we were shooting. So yeah, it's a pretty incredible story, and he was very passionate about seeing this story get put on film.
Now, in the film, there are a lot of battles, a lot of fights in this, as they are would be in a kind of military film of this era. But it's a period piece with weapons from that era. So you've got muskets and whatnot. And I'm just wondering, was there like an equivalent of a military boot camp for you all to learn, tactics, how to use weapons, that kind of thing?
It wasn't so much a boot camp, but I went out to Georgia where we shot like a couple weeks early before we started filming. And the main focus actually was the horse riding, making sure I got comfortable on the horse and worked with this incredible horse wrangler. And then also, yeah, with the weapons and stuff, we went through with the trainer, like the basics of how to use those things. But the main thing, yeah, was the focus on the horse riding in the
How
lead up to.
how scary did you find riding a horse? Because I'm not good with horses.
It was pretty intimidating. Not so much when I was learning how to do it, but more when we started filming because it's interesting because the horse it gets used to the blocking of the scene, and so what happens is that when you first do a take, it's sort of you're guiding the horse, trying to make it do what you want it to do. And then once it understands that, it wants to do it straight away. And so then you're like, they say action and you're having to deliver your dialogue and do the scene. And the horse is trying to like get away and go on the route that he knows he's about to do. So it was definitely challenging. I mean, trying to give the performance while also control the horse who's trying to like gallop off into the distance midway through your speech. But it was great. It was a great challenge. And now that's something I can say I can do. So
You didn't get any moments where sort of halfway through his speech the horse gallops off to the other side of the field or something.
not to the other side of the field, but yeah, definitely like galloped off at one point, like midway before I was ready for it. And then at points I, had to finish a speech or finish what I was saying and then get the horse. The point was for me to then get the horse to gallop off, and it just did not want to do it. Yeah,
Never work
tricky.
with animals and children.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now you've got two directors on this,
Yes.
Dave Allen Johnson, Larry McLean. Now it's not out of the norm to have two directors. It's obviously there's people like the Coen brothers, there's the Russo brothers. You can go right back to the Bolting brothers. But how did that work on set? Is like one dealing with artists, the other dealing with the crew, or what?
So really, my experience with Dave and Larry was that they were both very hands-on directors, fantastic directors, really knew how to work with actors. And it was really Dave who was more like giving the direction to the actors and really, discussing the scene with us and giving us little pointers of how he wanted it to be. And Larry was really more involved with the big battle scenes and crowd scenes and constructing those. So it really worked. They worked very well hand in hand, and it was, yeah, a great experience with them.
So we've got a question here from one of our readers, and it's kind of an effects question. So, we're familiar with guns and squibs and, body shots and that kind of thing going off when weapons are fired. But that question is about arrows. So arrows
Right.
are a bit difficult, bit different in kind of in terms of how it's actually done when you're seeing arrows strike either bodies or, more, it happens more, I notice in this film, is when they hit objects, buildings, carts, that sort of thing, and it's done in vision.
Yeah. So the arrows that you see hitting the objects was all special effects. So that was added in after. So there's one scene in which I'm like racing around the side of a cart and I like come to a halt because an arrow shoots into the cart just in front of me.
Yeah.
So that I didn't, that wasn't actually happening on set. I was reacting to something that was in my imagination. Obviously I was told there was going to be that added in after. But yeah, that was all CGI. And then sometimes when it was like an arrow hitting one of the actors, it would be an arrow, they'd set it up like a physical thing already in,
Yeah.
looking like it hit the actor already. And then with clever camera work, they'd whip pan across to that actor and they'd react like had just been hit. So.
So, talking of special effects, what is going on with the bouffant hairstyle that the makeup department have given you?
Oh God,
It's
that
a,
was
it is
yeah.
a big bouffant hairstyle you've got from there at the beginning of the film.
Yes. So that was, yeah, something that was in constant discussion throughout. And I think we sort of got it to a point where, we liked the look of it. I think probably in the beginning it was a bit bouffanty, but you know what? You gotta work with what you're given. Yeah.
You got to roll with it.
Yeah.
You go with it very well. So then, finally, then Tom, and we ask a lot of actors and directors this, just going right back, right back to your very early years. I mean, your earliest years. Can you remember the first film that you saw on the big screen, and what was it?
First film on the big screen. That's a good question. Do you know? I want to say. I mean, I want to say maybe Back to the Future 2,
Oh,
but I feel like maybe that it may have been like a Disney animated film. But I want to say Back to the Future 2 because I have a vivid memory of absolutely loving Back to the Future, which I saw on VHS. And then I remember going with my dad to see Back to the Future 2 at the cinema and just absolutely loving it.
so that
Uh,
was round about 88, 89, I think, Back to the Future.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. So I think that may have been it. And I still love that series today. The first two, especially Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2 are incredible. So that's my first memory of seeing something on the big screen.
And then I'm just going to ask you one other thing as well,
Yeah.
actually, off topic a little bit. So you've been acting for a fair old amount of time now,
Yes.
and one of your earliest productions was working on the TV series Lost.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, did you understand what was going on?
Did I understand what was going on?
Because I
Well,
still kind of
um,
get my head around it.
yeah. So I was a huge fan of the show in the lead up before I got cast, and I especially was loving season 4. And one of the things I liked about the show was the mystery around it and how you weren't really sure exactly what was going on. I enjoyed that aspect of it. And then when I was on the show, it was season 5 when the island itself was traveling through time, which is where my character came in. So it had gone like full crazy by that point. And I yeah, and by the end, did I personally don't need everything to be wrapped up for me and to be given all the answers. I think the fun really is in the question and in the mystery. So I know people were upset that a lot of stuff didn't get answered, but I wonder if it had all been answered for them, how satisfied they would have been, you know. They may still have been upset that it wasn't the answer they were hoping for. So you can't really win with something when it is quite as like mysterious and unknowable as that show was. But that was part of the like roller coaster of it, you know.
That's fair enough. Okay, great. Thanks very much for your time, Tom, and
Thank
wish you
you.
all the best with the film. Hope it does well for you. It's a sort of episode of history certainly I wasn't familiar with,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, that's great. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.